backpackers, it's Cheryl. Sarah's already talked to you about various choices for breakfasts and lunches on the trail. I want to give you some interesting ideas when you think about dinners on the trail. So the simplest option is to purchase a freeze-dried dinner, and this is what many people do. There's no shame in it. There's lots of options for meat eaters as well as vegans and paleo and gluten-free. So many more choices than we used to have a long time ago when I started backpacking. And basically the way these work is that you open up the packet and pour in a certain prescribed amount of hot water, and then many of these actually even have a little Ziploc top, and you sit and wait for a short time and your meal is rehydrated and ready to eat. Some of these are high in sodium, some of them take longer than others, so make sure you read the packaging. And the other part is that to kind of minimize the packaging that you bring on the trail, I like to separate some of these, like this, my favorite chicken coconut curry from Peak Refuel, comes with a 2-serving packet, and I'm not going to ever be able to eat this 2 servings all at once, so I will break this into 2 smaller Ziploc bags that I'll keep in this container, or just bring the Ziploc bag on the trail, and you can reuse these foil pouches to put the water in, or I like to put these freeze-dried meals into my mug and rehydrate them there. Anyway, those are all choices for you. I love Peak Refuel. There's also some from, this is from Packet Gourmet. They're vegan burrito with fajita chicken. Many people love the mushroom risotto. So all of these are possibilities. And you can also check the back of the packages for their calorie density. So that's something that we'll talk more about in the backpack food course. Okay, so moving on from this sort of simplest approach, one of the things I wanted to mention is just the prospect of being able to have a soup and some kind of really good bread for dinner. Sometimes this is all I really want after I've been eating my backpacking snacks all day. And so here's just some examples. There's dozens of different possibilities for instant soup, and you can just put these into your mug, put hot water in them, and they're pretty much instantly ready. You're familiar with ramen. And then some kind of nice, gooey, really tasty bread. This is a Trader Joe's focaccia that has sun-dried tomatoes and Parmesan cheese. There's lots of others, but of course I cut this up and put them into separate serving bags, and this will last 3 days plus on the trail unless it's super hot outside. There's also these little mini naan breads, and you can put spices and herbs on those too. So one of the next things I wanted to show you is basically already made foods. Now, I don't have an example of it, but you could just bring leftovers from your previous night's dinner. So maybe it's a burrito, maybe it's a piece of pizza. Bring that for your first night's dinner, and that's perfectly great. I have here an off-the-shelf turkey pastrami sandwich. As long as it doesn't have raw egg or mayonnaise in it, this will last at least a day. And so, make it simple for your first night on the trail, and just pick up a ready-made sandwich to bring along for your dinner, and that's perfectly great. Now, one of the other options that introduces a few more challenges but has been popular for a very long time, is making something that requires a little boiling on the stove, but you just pour it out of a package, boil the noodles on the stove. This is a Knorr's pasta side. This has been very popular for thru hikers for a long time because they can purchase these packets at any gas station convenience store as they're going along on the trail. But these do involve heating water in your pot and boiling it for 3 to 5, maybe even a little bit more minutes, and then there's a sauce packet that you stir in. So you will have some dishes, your pot to scrub at the end of that, but these are really simple too. Here's a package of macaroni and cheese, same kind of idea. Another prospect that has you boiling water in your pot for a little while is one of these already made Indian meals. This one is Madras lentil, and there's a lot of other possibilities. They come in a little foil pack, and obviously this is really heavy, so you'd want to eat it on your first day. But if this kind of thing really appeals to you, you can just put this down into your pot and boil the water, and it'll bubble around the little foil packet, and then it will heat up and you can eat it right out of the foil packet. So that's a possibility too. Again, I'm not suggesting that you necessarily will like any of these, but what I'm trying to do is just to spur your imagination to think about more and more options that might appeal to you. Okay, so let's talk about another option that gives you even more variety, and you can kind of have the satisfaction of creating your own various meals for the trail. I usually like to start with the idea of using something like these instant mashed potatoes, or maybe instant couscous, instant polenta. There's also instant rice. And these things then can have various other things mixed into them, like, let's say, a packet of tuna, or a packet of wild pink salmon, or maybe even chunks of some kind of sausage, like this Landjaeger. You can mix into your roasted garlic and Parmesan mashed potatoes, and these are pretty much instant. I love instant on the trail because once I get to camp, I really want to eat pretty quickly, and I don't want to sit around and wait for 20 minutes for my meal to rehydrate. Another instant option that I really like is to use black bean or pinto bean flakes. I get these super jumbo bags from Mary Jane's Farm because when I'm backpacking a lot, this is something that I'll bring multiple nights and I'll use a lot of it. So these black bean and pinto bean flakes can actually be rehydrated even in cold water, but they're very quick to rehydrate in hot water. So you can have these with a tortilla, put some cheese on it, put some of your Landjaeger meat in it or other things, and then you have a kind of an instant, tasty bean meal. Okay, so let me try to kind of take this idea of mixing a few things together and then maybe even spur your imagination a little bit more, and some people really actually find this fun. What I want to suggest to you now is that you can take various combinations of starches like these and a few other kinds of seasoning packets and make yourself a really interesting and varied dinner at home. So I want to give you just a few examples. This is a freezer bag date cashew chicken that I put together in a Ziploc by taking some freeze-dried chicken. A friend of mine gave me this super large can of freeze-dried chicken, but you can get it in smaller quantities too. And so then I put some of the freeze-dried chicken in the bag, I put some instant rice in the bag, I put a few dates in the bag, and then you can take advantage of some really fun things that you can buy in the store, like packaged hoisin sauce, this is beef bouillon, packaged soy sauce, and even coconut cream powder. Trader Joe's, coconut oil packets. Trader Joe's sells coconut oil packets, and there's even coconut cream powder that you can use as a flavoring. So the idea here is that for this recipe, I put it on the side. It includes freeze-dried chicken, instant rice, a coconut oil packet, a hoisin packet that you would put in later, cashews, powdered ginger, and maybe some wonton strips on top. So it's just an idea of something that you can put together, and then when you're ready to rehydrate, you put hot water into the rice, and then you add your flavorings and other toppings after that. So it becomes a really interesting kind of an option. One more that I've got two more I want to show you. This one is a freezer bag burrito. So what I've got in here is instant pinto beans, like the Mary Jane's Farm ones I showed you a minute ago. I've got freeze-dried corn and freeze-dried bell peppers that I got this is from Mother Earth Products, but there's a variety of others that you can find by searching on Amazon. And then sausage crumbles, there's freeze-dried sausage crumbles, I really like those. You can start to get the idea that you can really use your own imagination here. And just leave out the sausage crumbles if you want this to be entirely vegan. I would put in a packet of taco seasoning mix, which is in there. You could actually just sprinkle the taco seasoning right in with your mixture of beans and freeze-dried corn and freeze-dried peppers. Bring a little cheese packet and a tortilla. There's even sour cream powder, which is fantastic. You mix it with a little bit of water and it comes out just like sour cream. So gives you an idea of how you can make a really tasty burrito. This last one that I'll show you is coconut peanut chicken. So what I've got here in the bag is some freeze-dried chicken and some ramen noodles. So imagine that being the base of your coconut peanut chicken. And then in there you can put coconut cream powder, Here's PB2, which is powdered peanut butter, and then a soy sauce packet, maybe a beef bouillon packet, and then you can put a coconut oil packet in there, which improves the calorie density, and maybe some peanuts or some cashews. So I hope that gives you an idea that if you have a few staples in your pantry, you can really make some interesting combinations of dinners. And anything you make, you can kind of beef up with things like bacon bits or sun-dried tomatoes, my favorite, French fried onions, maybe some dried cranberries. You know, any of these things are possible, and you can mix those with your mashed potatoes or your polenta or your couscous. All of those can be beefed up with that. The last thing I want to show you is dessert. I never want to forget dessert on the trail, because one of the things I look forward to the most is what I'm going to have in my meal in the evening, and that gets me through the last part of my difficult backpack day. So, you know, simple things like caramel and sea salt chocolate bar. There's dozens of kinds of chocolate bars. Here's a Lindor white milk chocolate truffle bar. Here's little packaged almond roca packs. You can also buy instant pudding and bring some instant pudding and just add water, and that will thicken up and be a tasty pudding meal. So imagine if you love butterscotch pudding or pistachio pudding, that works as a dessert. Or sturdy cookies like Fig Newtons or Oreos, those also work. So what I hope I've been able to do here is to give you some ideas so that you don't feel like your choices on the trail for dinner are as narrow as just a freeze-dried spaghetti and meatballs packet. But freeze-dried meals are also totally acceptable and simple, and so whatever solution interests you is fantastic. Thank you, and happy trails.